I received a couple questions today about why I don't do bushcraft videos anymore and how I feel about bushcraft. And also to open up a little bit more about myself and who I am. Many of you know that I have a TBI, which is traumatic brain injury, and PTSD through my service in the military. And I just wanted to share a little bit of my story through this video and also answer the question about bushcrafting and how I feel about it. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We'll talk for a while and talk about why I love the wilderness, why I love the mountains and bushcraft and anything that has to do with self-reliance and survival. As some of you know, I've been diagnosed with PTSD. I was back in 2005. For the longest time, the only peace I could find was hiking through the trails, camping in the mountains, learning skills. There's just something about the crackle of a campfire, the smell of the smoke, the sounds of the animals at night, the sight of the sun rising over the mountains in the morning, that just brings about a relaxation and a relief of stress that I have a hard time describing. The best I can describe it is that I found in the wilderness and in the mountains a wholeness that I hadn't found or hadn't felt in many years. Bushcrafting to me is much more than the newest custom knife, which is the best axe or best folding saw. It's about the nature. It's about the wildness itself. It's about the land. It's about the plants and the animals that inhabit the mountains and the wilds. More importantly to me, bushcraft is about the challenge. Not conquering nature, not beating the world, but challenging myself, my mind, my psychology. It's about taking what nature throws at me and trying to mitigate it, trying to find a way to improve my situation always, trying to find a way to get off the X and not only to survive, but to thrive in the wilds. Then I began to notice something that I really hadn't paid attention to before. My children. My children love to go into the wilds with me. And I realized one day that my kids were more at home in the mountains or in the woods than they were with their friends. My children began growing up with the crackle of the campfire, from the smoke of the fire, from the trails and the mountains and the wilds. They were born into self-reliance and independence and strength. School counselor called me about my kids, and she was telling me how that my children were different from the other kids, that they didn't need as much guidance and they seemed to have answers or ways of fixing things that even the adults hadn't thought of. And they had no fear when it came to trying new things and having new experiences, unlike many of the other children. And that I needed to do something about it because they would never fit into society or be part of society the way normal people are. I laughed. I think it's amazing and wonderful that my kids are independent, able to take care of themselves, and leaders and not followers, not just cogs in the machine. That even at their young age they'd realize that you get things through hard work and leadership. You can't expect anybody to give you a handout. If you want something, you have to make it happen for yourself. So I always smile when people ask me about bushcraft and what I think of bushcraft, because again, I think it's much more than the toys and the tools. I think it's a lot more than the self-reliance and the skills. It's a way of life. It's a way of thinking and a way of being that society today just really does not understand. And it's a shame they don't, because their ancestors definitely understood it. The pioneers understood it. The Native Americans understood it. The First Nations from all around the world understood it. And I think it would be a very sad thing if it was ever lost. And that's why I take great pride and great care in trying to make sure that my children know it. So at least for my part, I'm passing on the great traditions of bushcrafting and being woodsman and self-reliant. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. This is Dan from Dan's Urban Survival and Prepping. Remember to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you like what you saw, and until next time, take care of each other.